Offer extended. Offer not accepted. This is Nelson with Nelson Radio, and you're challenged by today's rush to real estate, all combined with a concern that by the time you find your dream home, higher rates will price you out of the market. I've got the answer. With my Mortgage Market exclusive lock and shop rate guarantee, you can freeze today's low interest rates, shop for your new home, all with a peace of mind that your rate is waiting for you at the finish line. Call or click 888-888-2136 or click through on strongcreditrewards.com.
This is Be a Beast on Nelson Radio. You chose to be here. This is not by accident that you're here now and in this program. You want to take your performance to the highest level. You want to dominate. You physically work hard. Now that's important. Mentally, we're going to prepare you to have the kind of success that's available to you. Not just for some, but for you to live it fully. You can do it too. Enjoy this journey. This program is your secret weapon. Be a Beast on Nelson Radio.
And you will dominate with Be a Beast on Nelson Radio, heard right here on KLAA, AM 830 with myself, Nelson, and professional mental performance coach Dave Austin. You can reach out to us direct. It's so easy to get a hold of us, Dave. You simply have to text the word BEAST to 313131 or call direct 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136. Dave, we're coaching performance. From the locker room to the boardroom, everyone in between, right?
I love it. And, last week our show with Jack Canfield, the co-creator of Chicken Soup for the Soul, it was amazing. I mean, he has sold over 500 million books worldwide. And Roger was able to anchor the show with Co the Rhino. I mean, that's so perfect because that's a giant beast. It represents commitment, who Jack Canfield so beautifully brought what that means.
And Co the Rhino, that's exactly what the name Co stands for, is commitment. And so many people don't know, and I didn't realize this, but 500 million books sold worldwide. From a publisher standpoint, probably a good client, right? Get this.
I would say so.
144 publishers said no before the 145th stepped up and said, okay, I'm in. 144 no's. I mean, it sounds like my dating life.
Well, that's what's so amazing. So many people stop at the 1 no or the 2 no or the 3 no. And that's why I'm so excited about today, too, our guest coming up with Bob Proctor. You talk about a guy who lives an abundant life and with everything he's done. And that's part of what we do. The response to Be a Beast and our training it's just been overwhelming because we speak about how that training not only, helps business people, but women, because this whole show is kicking off the 6-week Super Series, leading up to the California Women's Conference, May 19th and May 20th at the Long Beach Convention Center. There'll be over 17,000 in attendance.
17,000 in attendance, but with all of the network and today's technology, with the live streaming that's taking place, and fingering out to all of the different channels and followers from our guest speakers, there's going to be, are you ready for this? 1 billion people reached. 1 billion. I mean, is that ever done?
Well, you know what? In Bob Proctor's life, it's always done. I mean, that's what we're going to learn from today. I love Bob Proctor. I've had a chance to go to India and spend a week with him. We both spoke at what was called the World's Women's Wellness Congress. And being around Bob just inspires you. I mean, even for a few minutes, we're going to have him a few minutes on this show, and lives are going to be changed. I guarantee it. He comes from such an abundant attitude in life and changes your paradigm on the spot. So 1 billion people, Bob will go, we'll make that look small.
And just like what Jack talked about, what he was referencing last week about the inverse paranoid. And it's looking for right instead of staring at what's wrong. And I think that's with this lineup of speakers, with Jack kicking off the premiere of the Super Series leading into the California Women's Conference, and Bob Proctor. I mean, these are giants that are coming into our program and giving us that encouragement. And like you said, that paradigm shift of, we're looking at the world a different way.
Yeah, and that you'll hear when Bob comes on, and I'm always excited to be in his presence because Mary Morrissey, who's a dear friend of mine, she always talks about, here she's a great coach to so many others, and yet she calls Bob every week. And Bob always takes on things helps her grow her business. So he's not only coaching individuals, but he coaches the top coaches.
And I can't wait to ask him this one question about one of his books, Born Rich. There's my tease. So stay with us. This is Nelson and Dave Austin. Contact us direct, 888-888-2136, 888-888-2136, or easiest of all, text the word BEAST to 313131. We'll get you engaged in our Be a Beast training. Coming up next, Bob Proctor.
Angels Radio.
AM 830.
Protect your family's future with an AmeriState Living Trust. It doesn't take as much time or cost as you may think. If you own a home or have children, you need a living trust. With an AmeriState Living Trust, you can protect your family and have peace of mind. The experts at AmeriState Legal Plan have helped more than 35,000 families safeguard their future. Their services are half the cost of pricey law firms. Don't delay any longer. Call today, 888-888-2136, and get an additional $250 off. AmeriState Legal Plan. Looking forward, planning wisely.
Do you ever want a secret weapon? Be a Beast training video is your weapon. From the locker room to the boardroom, success is not by accident. Performance is not by chance. You want to get your mind right? Perform at the highest level? Dominate your marketplace? Be a Beast training video is the answer. Mentally, we're going to prepare you to have the kind of success that's available for you to live it fully. You can do it too. The Be a Beast training video is your secret weapon. 888-888-2136. Let me say that again. 888-888-2136 or text BEAST to 313131.
Angels Radio.
AM 830.
And this is Be a Beast on Nelson Radio, our super series leading into the California Women's Conference with myself, Nelson, business leader and professional coach, and my special co-host, Dave Austin, mental performance coach. Reach out to us for our Be a Beast training. You can sign up in many, many different ways. All you need to do is call 888-888-2136 or text the word BEAST to 313131. And Dave, we're excited to have Bob Proctor come into our program, and as you've described, you have a rich history with him, but he is a giant.
He is a giant. You know, I love what he does. Your paradigm, he shifts you on your finances because he takes your whole blueprint that, is kind of it's your subconscious, and it just creates a change. I've seen, if you think about Think and Grow Rich, it's a book that has created more millionaires than any other book. Well, Bob latched on at a very early age, and I believe Bob personally has created probably the most millionaires on this planet, him individually.
And with that, Bob, welcome to our program.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
And so I want to ask you, one of the books that you've authored is Born Rich, and I'm almost convinced you were born rich, weren't you?
Well, I believe everybody's born rich. Most people are just a little short of money.
Yeah, exactly right.
And we help them change that. We've got rich resources lying dormant within us. We've got to bring it to the surface.
And with that, there's that perception. You talk about we are rich in assets, and there is just the infill that's required with the money. But so many people look at success, and they think incorrectly that, they're a trust fund baby, or they inherited this, or they fell into wealth. Has nothing to do about what they did intentionally.
Well, you see, I think the truth is that when the subject money comes up, there's a lot of paradigms go flying around. A lot of people misunderstand it. They say, they don't really want to talk about money, but what they really want is money. So money has a funny aura around it. Most people haven't got it. Almost everybody wants it. School doesn't teach us how to get it. And most people struggle all their life and never really learn how to make it happen. All the money in the world is available to us. All we have to do is earn it. And so the trick then becomes, how do you earn money? Most people think you go to work to earn money. Working happens to be the very worst way to earn money. Napoleon Hill pointed out, if you think hard work and honesty alone will bring riches, perish the thought, he says, is not true. Riches, when they come in huge quantities, are never the result of hard work. riches cometh, they come at all in response to definite demands based upon the application of definite principles and not by chance or luck. So you have to demand the riches that you want, and then you have to follow certain principles. It all happens by law. The whole universe operates by law.
So break down some of those paradigms for us.
Well, we're raised to believe that, there's something wrong with money. And these paradigms are programmed into our mind. We're programmed genetically and then environmentally. 97% of the population struggle. 3% of the population earns 97% of all the money that's earned. And we're programmed that way. And it's called a paradigm. A paradigm is nothing but conditioning in the subconscious mind. And a person has to change that if they want to live the way they dream about. Anybody can do it. It's a matter of learning how. That's what I teach. I've been teaching it now for 40-some years. I've been studying it for 53 years. So there's nothing complicated about it.
Hey, so Bob, in coming up, you had some changes that took place in your life to create who you are now today. Now, just a couple of weeks ago, we were together. You're at the Unstoppable Foundation, and you committed to giving $10,000 a week to change people's lives in Africa. Now, to be able to do that, that's an amazing thing. So is it, in your philosophy, is it the more you give, the more you receive, or what? Where?
Well, that's not just my philosophy, Dave. That's an absolute law of the universe.
There you go.
See, we're raised to be good little go-getters. We should be good little go-givers. Emerson called the law of cause and effect the law of laws. What comes back is what you put out. What we should be doing is looking for ways to give more. Opportunity is all tied up to giving. It's not tied up to getting.
Well, that's amazing.
Well, I started out, I had no formal education. I had no business experience. I was earning $4,000 a year. I met a man. He said, if you do exactly what I tell you and do exactly what this book teaches, and he gave me the Think and Grow Rich book. That was in 1961. A year later, I was earning $175,000. Then I took it over $1 million. I've earned literally millions of dollars. And I maintain I can teach anyone how to earn millions of dollars. It's not difficult. It's fairly simple. We've got an idea that it's difficult, and that's the idea we live with, so it becomes difficult. We've got to change that idea in our mind. We've got to realize that earning money is a simple thing to do. It's not difficult. There's few people understand it.
You're listening to Bob Proctor on Be a Beast on Nelson Radio with Dave Austin and myself, Nelson. 888-888-2136 or text the word BEAST to 313131. I want to go back to what you just made a point on in terms of this question. Can you outgive?
You cannot give too much. You see, I believe the whole universe operates by law. The law is God's modus operandi. Well, we're here to do God's work. And you guys ask, well, what's God's work? God's work is creation. God is the creator. His work is creation. So we're creative beings. We should be creating. And you're just an instrument through which spirit flows to and through. So the trick is to put as much out there as you can. Look for ways of giving more, and you automatically get more.
Boy, I love it. I love it. It's so funny. We have some in-house guests in the radio studio today, and I see pens flying. As fast as you speak, I see just notes being, just down. Bob, that is such a gift. And the great thing is what you just said, too. You didn't come from a large educational background or a large financial background. You just lived the principles. And I think part of what you do, more even than what you say, it's who you are as a person. You live the teaching.
Well, you've got to live it if you're going to enjoy it. You can't just talk about it. A lot of people talk about it. You've got to get into it. You've got to do it. See, the trick is action. And if you get the idea properly planted in your mind, it's got to be expressed. You're an instrument through which ideas express themselves. We've got to understand that if we're going to win, we've got to go to somebody that's winning. Don't ask the guy next door how to do it. Hell, if he knew, he'd be doing it.
Yeah.
Go to someone that knows.
So, Bob, a couple of months from now, you're going to be in front of 17,000 at the California Women's Conference. The call to action, what is that for the attendees?
Well, they've got to sit down. They've got to decide exactly what they want. They have to write it on a card and then carry the card with them and keep repeating it until they buy into it. You see, Napoleon Hill said, anything the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve. I don't think you even have to believe it in the beginning. I think you have to just write it out and keep repeating it. And if you tell yourself a lie often enough, you're going to start to believe it. William James said, believe, and your belief will create the fact. I repeated to myself often enough that I was going to have money that I started to get it. And now, once you get it, you can't stop it coming. You were talking about Jack Canfield. I started the seminar where Jack and Mark come up with the idea of writing Chicken Soup for the Soul. And that was, we were teaching people how to earn $1 million by setting up multiple sources of income.
And I love that message. You have to write that down. You have to commit it ink to paper in order for it to gain traction. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing. Bob, thank you for being with our program. This is Be a Beast on Nelson Radio with Dave Austin and myself, Nelson. Call us. Be a part of this training. Release exactly what you have inside you to achieve those goals by getting them ink on paper. 888-888-2136 or text the word BEAST to 313131. We're going to bring Roger Anthony out of the bush next.
Angels Radio.
AM 830.
This is Nelson with Be a Beast Radio, and I'm coaching you to contact Brian Chu from OC Wills and Trust. Be prepared for the inevitable. He can contact you, direct you on your estate plan, and for veterans, qualified veterans 65 or older, there is the possibility of a $25,000 tax-free VA benefit. OC Wills and Trust provides a free evaluation as to whether you or your loved ones can qualify. Find out more, 888-888-2136, or click through at nelsonradio.com. Do you ever want a secret weapon? Be a Beast training video is your weapon. From the locker room to the boardroom, success is not by accident. Performance is not by chance. You want to get your mind right? Perform at the highest level? Dominate your marketplace? Be a Beast training video is the answer. Mentally, we're going to prepare you to have the kind of success that's available for you to live it fully. You can do it too. The Be a Beast training video is your secret weapon. 888-888-2136. Let me say that again. 888-888-2136 or text BEAST to 313131.
Angels Radio, AM 830.
And you're back with Be a Beast on Nelson Radio, right here on KLAA AM 830. Contact us direct, 888-888-2136, or text the word BEAST to 313131. We cannot make it any easier, Dave. People can get engaged in today's world simply by texting the word BEAST to 313131.
Well, what makes it so exciting is that BEAST is that we give anchor principles that lock you in. Bob was so perfect in talking about repeating, say what you demand over and over again. Well, the triggers that Roger has brought to the whole BEAST training is created so much success because it triggers. When you learn these principles, it just triggers you into action.
And it's not just learning the principles, it's having these mind triggers that are ready to snap you into whatever level of performance, whether it's that executive presentation or it's speaking in front of thousands or it's doing a radio broadcast, having those mind triggers where there's that panic moment that hits.
Absolutely.
And you RESPA and snap back into it, or the 37 animals that we have that represent these mind triggers.
So let's get Roger out of the bush. Roger, you had a chance to hear Bob. Is he amazing? And I know you're going to anchor his whole, everything he talked about with an animal so that in one word we can step into what Bob talked about.
Absolutely. Yeah, Bob is, Bob Proctor is one of my favorites. He keeps things simple and gets straight to the point, makes it easy for us to understand. What came to my mind is that we're all born to be successful. We've got within us all of the ingredients to be successful and then some. Whatever success means to you or whatever it means to me, we're all born to be successful, but unfortunately we've been conditioned to fail. And just to give you an example of that, we live in a world where we've been conditioned to focus on the negative. And if people don't believe that, think about somebody or just imagine that we know somebody that's done nothing but good every single day of their lives. every single day of their lives have done nothing but good. Thousands upon thousands of good deeds, and one day they do one thing wrong, just one thing wrong. What do most people focus on? And it's very easy to see that we focus on the negative. I've asked that question to over 30,000 people, and every one of them very quickly responds and says, we focus on the negative, we focus on the one thing wrong, rather than keeping our focus on the positive out of all, on all the good that this person has done all their lives.
It's such a salient point. I just have to interject here because we saw this just this week with the basketball tournament going on with the NC2As. Wichita State goes through their season undefeated, gets into the tournament. They lose on a buzzer beater to Kentucky, and then people, just like you describe, are focusing on, they were inflated.
Exactly right. Exactly right. So, the anchor that we're using this week to anchor what Bob is talking about and the power of the mind. I wish we had more time, but we don't. But our anchor is a blue whale, the largest creature ever created on planet Earth. There's never been a creature bigger than a blue whale, not in ancient times and not now currently living. And the name of the whale is Abua, A-B-U-A, and it stands for abundant attitude. Having an abundant attitude and seeing that this world is so rich and full of opportunities, and that's why we chose a whale that lives in an ocean. As more than 70% of the world's surface is water, so it's full of abundance, abundant wildlife, the largest creature on planet Earth, full of abundance, and we're meant to live in a world of abundance. And the more you think abundantly, the more you receive abundantly. So having an abundant attitude, A-B-U-A, having an abundant attitude rather than a scarcity mentality. And so it's a big key. Reprogram our thinking so that we are thinking abundantly and reaping the rewards that we so rightly deserve as wonderful creatures here on Earth, enabling us to take control of our lives by thinking abundantly rather than thinking with scarcity.
Yeah, and Bob is a living example. One mention that I brought up was I saw him commit $10,000 a week to the Unstoppable Foundation, which builds schools in Africa. And that's he even says that's a stretch. Last year he committed $5,000 a week. But he has found through, and he calls it a law, the more he gives, the more he receives. And it's not about giving so that, okay, now give me back. It's about giving freely, and that's just happens that you receive more because you're living into that abundance mentality. When you have an abundance mentality, it's easy for you to write that check because you know there's more going to come. But if you're going, oh my gosh, I better get something back, that's still coming from a scarcity attitude. So Bob so thoroughly lives it. That's the reason that I believe he's created such a wealth of success. And again, it's not just about money. If you don't have happiness, if you don't have joy in your life.
And we focused on the finances in our program today, but you're right. It's not about the money. Abundance is just like you're saying, abundance of joy, abundance of happiness, abundance of time to live your life fully. It can be defined in many different ways other than just deposit slips.
Absolutely.
Well, Roger, and that's perfect because something you said is a perfect segue into how we finish our programs each and every week. And it's with that sense of gratitude. You mentioned something about life is rich and full of opportunities, and that's exactly what Rita Langland discovered when she established this orphanage down in Moshi, Tanzania with Treasures of Africa. And we always draw attention. She went right into the AIDS pandemic and decided to do something about it. She's now raising up 50 kids in her orphanage. They just are under construction on a 5-acre parcel that will house 126 kids. And I just want to draw, as you're driving around, attention to this beautiful young woman that we need to sponsor. Her name is Irene, and she has a radiant smile. She loves to laugh. She had a rough start. Came from a troubled life. Her mom gave birth to her when she was very young. She would leave her Irene with her grandmother And her grandmother was alcoholic. She was abusive. Irene was ultimately placed into a home for children, but it was a boys' home. And so you talk about the wrong mix of ingredients. And here's a situation where she is now with Treasures of Africa. She is already advanced through the equivalent of high school and is now venturing into college. She's in this loving place, and she wants to become a lawyer.
Wow.
And come back and contribute to her community back in Moshi, Tanzania, which is the theme of Treasures of Africa, of bringing up community leaders and coming back into the community to make change. And so little Irene, you'll see her picture on our website at nelsonradio.com. You can reach out to us direct to sponsor her or to get engaged in our Be a Beast training at 888-888-2136. I'm going to say it slower, Dave. I know you're thinking this. 888-888-2136. Or you can text the word BEAST. Easiest of all, text the word BEAST to 313131. We're going to continue next week with our super series, the keynote speakers for the California Women's Conference, coming up this May 19th and 20th in Long Beach. Bob Proctor said it best. Commit those goals to paper, and that will unleash realizing those goals. And that's exactly what we do with Be a Beast. Offer extended. Offer not accepted. This is Nelson with Nelson Radio, and you're challenged by today's rush to real estate, all combined with a concern that by the time you find your dream home, higher rates will price you out of the market. I've got the answer. With my Mortgage Market exclusive lock and shop rate guarantee, you can freeze today's low interest rates, shop for your new home, all with a peace of mind that your rate is waiting for you at the finish line. Call or click 888-888-2136 or click through on strongcreditrewards.com.